Hi, I'm Pam, and this is my monthly update video where I go through everything that I was up to and all the games I played in the month of August. So as far as updates go, I put out a couple videos last month. I put on one about ranking roguelite games, which was a lot of fun to make. Surprisingly a lot of work. I played about 38, I think, roguelike and roguelite games and ranked them. That was a good video if you missed that one. I also did a review of Crypt Custodian, which is a brand new metroidvania that I greatly enjoyed. I will talk about that a little more in this coming video and what I've been playing, but that is up on the channel as well. There were also 2 new episodes of Point and Drink Adventure that came out in August. In the first one, we had Peach Bourbon Smashes, which were delicious, talked about all the games we're playing and the movies we're watching. And then the newest episode just came out a few days ago, and it was a fun one because Michelle was actually here in Toronto, so we got to record together, which I always like to do. She was here so that we could go see King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard over at Budweiser Stage, Molson Amphitheater, whatever the hell it's called, down by the lake in Toronto. It was a fantastic concert, and we also talked about a bunch of movies that we watched together, and of course, more games that we're playing. If you haven't seen those, check them out on the Point and Drink Adventure channel. And before we get to the updates, here's a quick word from this video sponsor. Extra is known for inventing the first trackable wallet, and I've really been enjoying mine. It's made of premium leather, blocks RFID, and can hold up to 12 cards plus cash in this nice slim package. I love having access to all my cards with the click of a button. It's small enough that I can carry it in my pocket, and I wear pretty snug jeans. Never worry about losing your wallet again with Extra's Finder card. You can place this slim, rechargeable card into your wallet or other gear, and you'll be able to locate it on a map, ring the item, and get notifications if you leave it behind. These trackers are available for both iPhone and Android. Extra is currently having a Labor Day sale for 30% off, but if you use my code CANNOTBETAMED or the link in the description below, you can get an additional 5% discount on top of any web sales. So I actually do have some pickups this video, which has become a bit of a rarity lately. First of all, I got an early birthday present from Michelle while she was here. She knows how much I love Xbox controllers, and she knows how much I love Hollow Knight, so she got me this custom Hollow Knight Xbox controller, which is just so cute. It's got the sort of black and white theme. It's got the little shade here that goes along with the shade plush that I have over by my vinyls. It's really nice. Very thoughtful gift. I love it. I'm afraid of breaking it, so I'm like only gonna play gentle games, like no Dark Souls with this controller, I think. Although I feel like I should probably play Hollow Knight with this controller. But yeah, I absolutely love this. This is a custom thing by Captain Alex Designs. I believe she picked this up at Too Many Games last month, whenever that was. But yes, love this controller. Add it to my little Xbox controller collection. Also have a couple books to talk about. While Michelle was here, we went to a local game shop, ANC Games, and she found a game to buy. And I didn't buy anything, but I did see a Cuphead art book. It turned out it was cheaper online, so I ended up just ordering it when I got home. But yes, I bought The Art of Cuphead, which is a gorgeous art book. It's by Dark Horse, and it just has all kinds of just little stories about sort of how they approach doing the art on this game, influences and things, and just a ton of concept art and sketches and drawings of every location, every different boss and enemy, and yeah, super cute. I love Cuphead, so I thought this one would be a good book to add to my bookshelf. But we're not done with books. Now technically, this isn't mine. I actually bought this for Dylan for Christmas. But now that he lives here, it's basically ours. So I got from Ants to Zombies. This is a Bitmap Books book. I love all their stuff. I've got their point and click adventure, CRPG, JRPG compendium. They're all so beautiful. So this is about 6 decades of video game horror, and it just goes over sort of various categories of video game and what ones sort of fit in here. Now, I do admit that some of the selections made in this book do leave me scratching my head a little bit. Like, they talk about space horror, and some of the things that they don't include confused me. They talk about universal monsters and survival horror, and yeah, I have some questions about who made the picks for what goes in the book, but it's still a lovely book with great art and a bunch of information about various horror video games. So now on to what I've been playing, and I played through a ton of games in August somehow. First, I'll just talk a little bit about Crypt Custodian. It just came out on the 27th, I believe, and this is by Kyle Thompson, who made Sheepo and Islets, which are both also Metroidvanias that I really like. This one takes things in a bit of a different perspective. It's a top-down rather than your normal 2D platformer Metroidvania. You play a recently deceased kitty who has been judged to have been a bad cat, and he has to clean up the afterlife. And it's an absolutely adorable game. I was a little bit concerned about the move to the top-down perspective, but I found the platforming and exploration just as good as it is in a lot of my favorite 2D platformers. There's a ton of collectibles to get. The combat's really satisfying. The boss fights are fun and sometimes incorporate kind of bullet hell aspects, which I really enjoyed. If you're interested in Crypt Custodian, you should go check it out, and also go check out the full review that I made on my channel. It's a good video and it's a good game. The next thing I played is Vampire Therapist, and this is another new game. It is by Little Bat Games, and it is a visual novel where you play a vampire therapist. And I thought this game was very charming. I thought the writing was very good. You play a cowboy vampire. Like, you're basically, oh my god, I'm blanking on his name. Sam. You're basically Sam Elliott as a vampire therapist. So he comes from like the Wild West, so that's where, you know, his brain first developed, but now it's modern day and he's gone to Germany to study under another much older vampire, and he meets various vampires, all of which have their own problems that he needs to help them work through. I thought this game had a really smart take on the whole psychology aspect, because, you know, playing a therapist, you can get a little like, what's this going to tell people to do? But it basically deals with negative mindsets and schemas of thinking and sort of labeling those and identifying them when your patients bring them up. Things like labeling or should statements, or the fallacy that you're in control of everything or everything is always about you. So it's pretty good the way that they do it. There's not a whole lot of choice in the game. Like, it's a pretty linear story in terms of what you're doing. Most of the gameplay involves just some conversation options and then labeling those statements that people are making with the right sort of schema that they're using, so you can bring that up with them. But I thought the writing was excellent. I thought the voice acting was excellent. It was a really good story, despite the fact that there wasn't like a whole lot of gaminess to it. But yeah, I really liked Vampire Therapist. If you are into vampires in the sort of like social kind of way, where you like vampire society and how they think and the effects of living for hundreds and thousands of years while everyone else dies around you, I thought Vampire Therapist was really good. The next thing I played is Death Road to Canada, which is a very cool narrative-heavy roguelite game. I talked about it in my recent ranking roguelite videos. And this is great because you can play with up to 4 people, couch co-op. I played through with Dylan over a number of play sessions, and we also played a bit with Michelle while she was here, which was fun. You can randomize characters or create your characters with each of them have like a little perk or a trait that can impact things. Every character has a bunch of hidden stats like strength and fitness and wits and composure, and they get revealed at certain events, and you can also sort of level up stats to make them stronger. But you're basically just going on this road trip to Canada because the rest of the world has been taken over by zombies. So you stop at, you know, a store. You go for a run in the store, you do little like action combat hacking at zombies as you gather resources that are going to sustain you for the rest of your trip. And there's all kinds of little narrative events that happen while you're on the road trip that you have to respond to. If you've got characters with certain skills, it can make those events more positive in their outcomes. But it was just a really cute game. The writing is very amusing. The situations you find yourself in are very silly, and I had a ton of fun with it. So if you're looking for a couch co-op game that's a lot of fun, I recommend Death Road to Canada. The next game that I completed is called Lil Guardsman, and this is by Hilltop Studios, and this just came out at the beginning of this year. My friend Captain Drachma talked about this on the IndieQuest podcast a little while ago. And the thing that everyone compares this to is Papers, Please, except a way more chill, more comedic, less stressful Papers, Please. So you play a little girl, boy, I don't know, she's a child of some kind, and her dad's kind of a deadbeat, and he goes off to gamble, and he's like, you work my guard tower in this fantasy city, and you decide who gets to come in the city and who doesn't. So you work in the guard tower, and you have 3 actions for every person. So you can question them, you can like press them if they're lying or not believe them. You've got little items that you can use, like you've got a truth serum or an x-ray to see if they're carrying anything. And then after you use up these actions, you have to decide, do I let these people in or do I not let these people in? And there's a time travel component that works where if you screw up too much, you can just go back to the start of the day or even just back to the start of the person who was trying to get in. And the story evolves. Eventually, there's a war happening, so you have to be careful that you want to, you know, get good soldiers in, but don't let in the enemy. The king's advisors each day have little advice for you. Let in this person, but not this person. Don't let in any goblins, that kind of stuff. So you're basically just going through, and that's about half the game. And the other half of the game is afterwards, where it takes on more of a visual novel-y thing, where you just talk to various people and go around the city seeing sort of what's happening. And I thought this game was really cute. The writing was amusing. Again, the voice acting was really good. There's some characters that sing, and the songs in this game are very, very funny. I thought it was a really good game. It took me a bit to warm up to it. At first, I found, I don't know, it was kind of weightless, and I didn't really feel I had any clue, like when I should use an x-ray or when I should press someone on something, or had any clue when they're lying. And it didn't really seem to matter that much, but as it got a little more intense and the stakes became a little higher, I started enjoying it a lot. So it was a very fun game, a little different than anything I've played before, so that is Lil Guardsman. The next game I played is GhostBlade HD, and this was originally a Dreamcast game, I think, by HughCast Games, but now it's out in HD for Xbox, which is where I played it, Switch, PC, probably PlayStation. And it's just a vertically scrolling shoot 'em up. I love a good bullet hell, and it's been a while since I've played a new one, so this one has been on my wish list for a while, and saw it was on sale, decided to pick it up. You get to choose between 3 different characters, which are 3 different ships. They're all scantily clad women that you never actually see through the course of the game, only on the select screen, and each ship has a different firing pattern. There's lots of bullets. Duh. You know, a lot of ways to get different high scores. There's a focus mode, so most ships have sort of a spread shot as their main, but you can focus it in to make it stronger to blow up enemy ships more. There are screen clearing bombs. It's pretty, like, I don't really know anything that makes this game stand out, but it was an enjoyable scrolling shoot 'em up. Just sort of hit the spot for me. I played it through with each of the different ships, had my fun, and then decided that I was done with it for now, but I was happy to get a few hours of fun shoot 'em up action. If you're looking for a good one that's available on modern consoles, that is GhostBlade HD. Another game I had on my wish list for a while is called Shardpunk Verminfall. This first came out in 2023 by Clockwork Pile, and I played the demo of it on stream sometime in the past couple months, and I really enjoyed the demo, so I got the full thing. It is a turn-based tactical game, very XCOM-like in its mechanics of the actual combat, though there's not much of a base building component. You play a group of survivors in a sort of apocalypse situation. Rats have taken over the entire city, and they have an automaton that they need to deliver to the palace that's gonna help them out in their quest. So you get your characters, you get like one movement and one shoot or two shoots, that kind of stuff. They each have different abilities, and as you go through, you fight a bunch of rats. Between each sort of combat zone, you go to a safe house where you get certain amounts of points where you can look for items on the shelves, and items can be used to upgrade your characters or give yourself bonuses. They each have different talents that you can get, so you can like sharpen your sword and do more melee damage, or you can increase your critical strike, or you can tell stories together to reduce the stress that you got from going through the previous dungeon. And I quite liked the beginning of this. It was just that kind of just like XCOM-like combat that I liked, with just enough of the character building and party building to keep things interesting. Though I did find the combat areas got very repetitive after a while. It's sort of a 3-act structure to the game, and the randomized layouts never change that much. It's generally just get from point A to point B. Sometimes there's a little thing that you need to do in the middle, or there's a little event that happens. But for the most part, the different missions are very, very similar. Once you get to a certain point, you stop seeing different enemy types. They're all just rats, so none of them are that interesting. And yeah, it just got a little tired before I got to the end of the game. The only most interesting parts are the end of each act. That mission is quite different, which makes things a little more exciting. But I did find it overstayed its welcome a little bit, even though I thought it was mechanically a pretty sound game. Just, I don't know, needed a bit more variation. I play so many co-op games now. The next thing I beat for the first time is Gears of War Ultimate Edition. Dylan and I played this split screen co-op and had a lot of fun with it. I've dabbled in Gears here and there. I've tried it out. It's never really stuck with me, but playing it, you know, side by side was a lot of fun. You play as Dom and Marcus, and I didn't know at all what was going on in the story. I didn't know why I was in jail to begin with. I didn't know where these monsters came from. I didn't really know what we were doing most of the time, but that's fine because the shooting was fun. It's your basic cover shooter. It's like one of the first cover shooters, I'm pretty sure, but the Ultimate sort of just makes it look a little nicer. I generally enjoy the guns. I don't love the melee. The melee is the one thing that I wish was a little more impactful, especially since you have these huge hulking men. But I liked going through the story and the various missions. I found things changed up enough. There were enough little cutscenes in between. I really liked the times when you had to split up and each go your own way, so you got to do something a little bit different and had to spot your partner from like up above or just watch them die, whatever, however it goes. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with Gears of War. My only other complaint is that everything, the gears and the monsters, they're all just big hulking dudes, and sometimes it can be hard to tell the enemies apart from the rest of your squad. But other than that, it was really good. We plan to play through more of the series after we take a break with some other games. I also finished playing BioGun by Dapper Dog Digital. A few months back, I made a sponsored video on BioGun. I got to play about a third of the game before it released in early access. So I played it. I eventually, in early access, you did have access to the whole game, but I decided I was going to wait until the 1.0 release. And it wasn't in early access for long. It was only a few months before the 1.0 release came out. So once that happened, I decided I was going to complete my game, and I had a lot of fun with it. Everything that I said in my video, which you should check out if you're interested in the game, I agree with. It's got nice twin stick shooter controls, which I really enjoyed, although there's also multiple control schemes depending on what you're comfortable with. There's a ton of different weapons. I absolutely love the map. It is a little bit segmented because you're basically going through a dog. So you get to name the dog, there's this virus that's impacting all the pets, and you play like a little antigen going in trying to fight off the virus. And yeah, the map is a lot of fun. There's all sorts of breakable walls and secrets and collectibles to find. The abilities that you get aren't overly unique, but they all work really nice and it feels really good to move around. The game world and all the characters is just super bright and colorful. I like the music, it's very upbeat. One thing I really liked about it is that you get a scanner, and one of the characters tasks you with scanning everything. So every enemy, every plant, every character, and I always love scanning things in games ever since Beyond Good and Evil, where I had to photograph all the wildlife. That kind of scanning just really appeals to me, and the more you scan, the more bonuses you get, which also really helps. Yeah, just really fun boss fights, fun platforming. I thought BioGun was absolutely great. This isn't about the game really. The engine this game is built on is really fucking weird. I'm not a developer, so I can't speak to it, but playing just on my computer, it worked absolutely fine. I thought the performance was good, but I kept getting weird things. Like when I was recording it for my video, I'd get a pop-up saying, oh, you can't do game capture on OBS with this, it won't work. And I was like, oh, well, that's weird, but okay. And now you start up the game, it's like, you should shut down all your browsers for performance reasons. Like, why? I don't want to. Also, would not recommend playing it on the Steam Deck in docked mode. That did not work very well at all, but just like a very weird engine for this game. Also, it never really closes. Like if you quit the game, you actually have to go and quit it from like from the system. Like it just won't quit, which is very strange. But all that said, it was really fun to play the game, and if you're just gonna play it on your PC, or I hear even just like the Steam Deck in handheld mode, it works great, and it was a lot of fun. And if you like metroidvanias and want something more colorful with ranged combat, and you want to save all the puppies, then I definitely recommend BioGun. And there were just a couple games that I decided to retire this month. The first is called Galacticare. This is a new game that is very much like Theme Hospital, or whatever the new Theme Hospital that came out with was, but this one is set in space. So you're treating a bunch of different aliens with all these alien diseases and viruses, and you're basically just going through a series of hospitals, building them up, the diagnosis rooms, the treatment rooms, making sure everything looks nice and it's kept clean. I really had fun with it. Like, it's very, very similar to the other hospital sim games that I've played, but I've also always really liked that. I didn't retire it because I didn't like it. I just played through, I think I did maybe 6 hospitals out of 12-ish that are available, and I just sort of thought that I had enough of it. But if you do like that kind of game, it is on Game Pass, so definitely worth checking out, especially if you just want to jump in and build a hospital or two. I did quite enjoy it. And lastly, another game that I retired is called Mars 2120. This is by Qbyte Interactive. I did stream this over on Twitch for an hour and a half when the game first came out. It just came out last month. This is a Metroidvania that is very much taking from Metroid. It looks like they're very influenced by Metroid Dread. You land on Mars, and it doesn't really tell you what's happening. Like, there's no introduction to the game. You just crash land on Mars and start going through. It started out okay. It's got this neat system where you can do melee attacks or ranged attacks. Your gun, especially to start out, isn't great. Melee's a little bit more satisfying, though the collision is somewhat suspect. The skills that you get are various elements, so you can get electric or ice or fire attacks, and also shots that will open doors and let you get through various obstacles. It started out all right. Like, I thought it looked decent, other than the character model. It had interesting ideas, like the movement felt pretty good. Sadly, you get this really good double jump, but most of the time you're just in these tight little corridors where you can't even do a double jump, which was kind of disappointing. Overall, I thought this game had good ideas, but the execution was just lacking sufficiently. Like, enemies were kind of bullet spongy, there was collision issues, sometimes enemies would fall through the floor. Where I ended up quitting the game was this giant magma boss, and he only had 3 or 4 different attacks, but you could only do damage to him when he did one particular attack. So a lot of the time I was just sitting there waiting, like for a minute, 2 minutes, not able to do anything, waiting for him to do this attack so I could hit him a little bit. It just felt kind of incomplete, and like it definitely needed some polish, so I wasn't really willing to put any more time into that one. Hopefully they can put some patches in and improve the gameplay a little bit. But yeah, that was Mars 2120. Alright, that's it. That is what I was up to in August and all the games I played. Leave me a comment, let me know what you played last month, if you want to recommend anything to me, or if you got any cool pickups. Don't forget to check out the recent episodes of Point and Drink Adventure and any of my videos from last month if you haven't seen them. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. If you want to see more, go check out my full review of Crypt Custodian or another of my videos. I have a Patreon if you want to support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.